Is this video going to be controversial? I hope not. Okay, look, I've wanted to cover money in some form or another now for a long time. I feel like money is something that is important to talk about, but also scary to talk about, because especially if you're British, there's this big taboo about talking about this kind of thing. And so I'm easing my way into it. I'm not going to give anything away really that you'd consider personal in this video, but I do want to explain myself, because I have been working in video games and esports full time now for the last 4-5 years, I guess. Yeah, actually 5 years. And obviously the money that I've earned has changed as those 5 years have gone on. But at the end of the day, at the very least for the last 4 years, I've been making a decent full-time income doing what I do. I think it'd be very easy to assume that somebody in my position who spends their days making content, YouTube videos on a very small YouTube channel, Twitch streams on a reasonably small Twitch channel, and commentating over video games, I think it would be reasonable to assume that I'm lazy, and I think it would be reasonable to assume that I'm doing whatever it takes to not get a real job. And I mean, that is true to an extent. I don't want a real job ever if I can help it. I guess the follow-up to that is, why would I want a real job if I don't need to have one? As it stands, I'm 25 years old. I am a homeowner. I own a 2-bedroom house that I am paying off the mortgage for, but have put down the deposit, and you know, it's my house. And I am living comfortably enough where if I suddenly stopped earning any money whatsoever, I'd be fine for at least long enough to find another way of earning money. Ever since I was young, my parents instilled it into me that you shouldn't want to work for somebody else. Obviously, everybody has got their own opinions about this. There are obviously amazing jobs where you work for other people, and you know, you get a steady salary and you love your job and you love the people that you work with, and that's great. My parents never really had that. They have been working for themselves essentially now for as long as I can remember, and they are extremely happy being their own bosses, running their own business. They don't have to answer to anyone else. Their success or failure is purely determined by the amount that they work and how hard that they work and their reputation. And they always drilled it into me that that is the way to go. And there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to jobs and working and what you should and shouldn't do. But I do want to give you my opinions here. I want to start by explaining how I earn my money, what it is exactly that I do, what my sources of income are, where they're from, and maybe give some advice to those of you that are younger and watching now, to how, if you want to be in a position like me, what you can do to start sowing those seeds. And I don't even necessarily mean talking about gaming and esports, but any job. If you start early, if you have a passion for something, I think you should do that. You don't have to end up in an office doing a job that you don't like. If you're watching and you're older and you do have jobs and you don't like them, it totally depends on your own financial circumstances, obviously, whether you can make a change. It wouldn't be down to me, it wouldn't be responsible of me to tell you that I think you can or you can't. That's totally down to your own situation. When I was at university, I started streaming. And yes, already there is a level of privilege coming out here. Like, I would be wrong to not admit that. A lot of people have to go to university, and when they're not studying and working, they have to get a job to live. I didn't have to do that, thanks to my parents sending me a little bit of money for food, and thanks to a nice student loan, I was able to live comfortably. Well, I mean, I wasn't eating well, but I was able to live and not have to have a job. And after a 1 year of uni, of partying and having fun and that kind of thing in my own time, I discovered Twitch streaming going into my 2nd year, and that was it. Whenever I wasn't working, that was what I was doing. I had my mind and heart set on it. And it grew and grew, and it got to the point where I decided this is what I want to do for a job. I don't want to do anything to do with film production, which was my degree. I want to do this. I want to make this work. And I worked tirelessly. And I would procrastinate uni work and make my streams better, and make shows I was broadcasting better. And I worked on this nonstop. I didn't make much money. I think if I want to be real, I think when I was at university, I probably made on my Twitch stream something like a couple $1,000s a year, which isn't enough to live off of. obviously, but I didn't need to earn enough to live off of. I was at uni. This was bonus money that I was able to sort of scrimp and save up for better equipment and that kind of thing. Then I finished university and I joined an organization who was going to pay me a monthly salary. We're talking like a couple $100, something like that, a month to stream with their brand, and represent them. And I did that for a bit. And I started making YouTube videos for a Hearthstone fan website. And they paid me, I think, $150 or something like that, a couple $100 a week to make a video for them. These would be videos that I would spend, like 3 or 4 solid days working on, in addition to my stream. So there was that. And I was at home and I was working away and I was earning enough, right? I could have carried on like this, building up the stream, doing that, and I would have been fine. I was living at home with my parents, and they had said to me when I finished university, as long as I finish university and, get my degree, they'd said I was allowed to live at home rent-free for a year to try and make my career in video games pay off. And if it did, great. And if it didn't, they'd expect me to go out and start trying to find a real job in an industry that I had studied for at university. And this is where I think money gets important, right? Because as soon as you are trying to break the norm, as soon as you're trying to get any sort of job or career that is outside what people that are older than you expect you to do, you have to prove, it is down to you to prove that this is the right way to spend your time. And the best way to do that is to show that you can earn money doing it. So I was working away and, producing bits of money until I started commentating. And this is where my earnings really started to take off. I was able to to run this event. I had to produce and host an event from home. It was one night a week. And I think I was paid for 4 hours, and I think I was paid, and really having to stretch my memory here, I was paid around $200 per broadcast to do this. And for me at the time, that was insane. It was fun. I got to commentate over a tournament. The producing it was a little bit stressful, but this is cool. This is something. This is a small online tournament that could lead to more. And I was right. It did lead to more. And it was very soon that I was able to sort of say to my parents, look, this is how much money I'm making. Do you have my trust to continue doing this? And again, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, money talks. And that is how I was able to convince them not to worry. I had more and more of these online jobs. The money didn't get better immediately, but the quality of life did. I'd be allowed to work with somebody, we were commentating it together. Somebody else would produce the show, so all I had to do was commentate it, that kind of thing. You're stepping up bit by bit until eventually I got to do my first real event where I'd be flown abroad and actually hang out with other players, commentators, and work with them at a studio. And this was the probably the biggest breakthrough for me, because I was offered, they actually asked me what my day rate was, and I had no idea what to tell them. So I got advice from a friend, and it was 3 days of events. They paid for my flight, they paid for my hotel, they paid for transport, etc. And I earned £1,000. And to me, that was baffling. And to be honest, the money didn't even matter, because this event wasn't about the money. It was about meeting these people that I'd been a fan of and actually getting to be on this broadcast and be something and do this thing. That was great. And the money was very much a kind of a side effect. And I guess what validates what I felt that I was doing to family members and friends that don't really understand. Anyways, time went on. I did more and more of these events. If you know anything about my history, my show reel is behind me of kind of recent things that I've hosted before coronavirus. And I've made a healthy living doing these events. It is these events over the last few years that have allowed me to save up, buy a house, to put some money away, and that kind of thing. And now, because of coronavirus, I am at home, not really working events abroad. I'm lucky that I'm able to do some of the stuff here from home, but ultimately I have now started streaming again. Again, mostly for fun, but a side effect is the money. And I'm not earning loads of money on Twitch. I do need to point that out, that the money that I'm earning on Twitch as a streamer now pales in comparison to the money that I earn doing my real job, which is the commentary. I think on a really good month on Twitch, I'd earn something like $700, £500, and then on a regular month, more like £100. It's not bad. Could you live off of it if you're also trying to rent and that kind of thing? I don't know. I doubt it. I think the point that I want to make in this video is that there are weird jobs out there. I never would have thought that I was going to make my living hosting stages and commentating over video game tournaments, you know? I never would have told you that was even a job you could do, and that's what I'm doing. And how did I get it? I realized when I was at university that I had this passion for video games, and that there was nothing that I could do to distract myself to not want to play these games, and that I had to do something with that. I had to be productive in some way. I had to turn it into something. And so I did. And it wasn't easy, and I got very lucky, and there was an element of privilege there. Of course there was. But I want to tell you that you can do it too. Because even if that means studying during the day, having your own job at night, and then even squeezing in Twitch streams in between, or making YouTube content in between, or making TikToks in between, or literally any platform you want, just do it. Do something. The hardest part is starting, and just start. Just do it. Because if you do, you never ever know where that's going to lead. You never know. In 5 years' time, you could be doing a job that doesn't exist right now, and the reason you could be doing that job is because you started making TikToks today. You honestly never know. It's about the friends that you make. It's about the experience that you get. It's about the things that you try and the things that you fail at. Because I failed at loads of stuff, and it's all helped me. Again, talking money and numbers is something that is very taboo, and it's like once you open that door, you can't really close it again. To the parents out there that probably think that I'm a really bad influence trying to convince the children to play video games, that's not what I'm saying at all. It doesn't matter whether it's gaming or music or anything like that. All I'm saying is if you've got a passion, if you've really got a passion for something, pursue it. Pursue it with everything you've got. Because while it may be unlikely to get a good job in that industry, it's definitely not impossible. And maybe it's more probable than you think. And for me, I decided when I was starting up Twitch streaming and all that kind of thing, I would rather struggle and suffer and be concerned about my future all the time. I would rather live that life, but also do something that I really love than be stuck in a job that I hate. That's the choice that I made. It's a risky one. But for me, so far, it's paid off. I'm happy. I'm healthy-ish. Bit fatter than I was thanks to COVID, but there you go. And I don't have any regrets. I also have ludicrous amounts of respect for, especially this year, for doctors, for nurses, for carers, for anyone that's doing these things. Like, you are amazing. You are a better person than I am. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for the police officers, to anyone like that, anyone that's doing one of these, to teachers, to anyone that's doing these jobs that have to be done. Thank you. I like to think, or hope that I give something to society in what I do in terms of entertainment and that kind of thing. I try. But to those of you that work these really quite brutal sometimes jobs, thank you. I would not be able to do what I do without you doing what you do. I think that's probably everything I have to say on this topic. Thank you for watching. Please do comment below. Let me know what you think of this video. Yeah, see you in the next one.